Good evening. Welcome to the Elevation Station, and it's me, Flotus D. You have reached the Elevation Station once again. Welcome to Crown of a Masterpiece Ministries. Once again, my name is Flotus D. Denise, and on today's live podcast, let's touch on some things, okay? Let's start with one, the main thing, your goals, okay? Have you ever felt like anything that you were pursuing goal wise, you gave up a little bit too soon? Let's talk about it. Let's get into it. Okay. We've all been there. We've had several things on our plates, number one, but mainly when it comes to that list of certain goals that we wanted to pursue, have you ever felt like you just gave up too soon? I'm here to tell you it's never too late. It's never too late to go after what you want. Just make sure whatever it is that you're going after, just make sure you incorporate God in the plan. Okay. Please and thank you. Make sure you are incorporating God in the plans, in your goal settings for your life. We've all been there, whether it's financial struggles that we want to work on to make things better, whether it's going back to school, completing a certain degree or degrees, whatever the case may be. You just, got kind of lost in the sauce and you were just like, I'm not moving forward anymore. I want you to know as of today, you need to pick back up that list of goals. You need to pick back up those ideas, that whatever it is that you were working on goal wise, and pursue it, pray about it, talk to God about it more than anything, and ask Him to guide you. You know, it's so many things going on in today's world. It's not even funny. And the last thing is to be sitting in unhappiness. It doesn't make sense. That's not the type of God that we serve, that He just wants you consistently unhappy. He wants you to have joy. He wants you to have peace. And whatever the goals that you are wanting to pursue brings you joy, brings you peace as you research and you're digging deeper into pursuing, go after it with all of your heart. Just make sure you incorporate God and make sure you incorporate His word. Scripture, dealing with, of course, the story of Rachel. If anyone or if you all are not familiar, in Genesis, actually starting in chapter 30 up to chapter 35, it talks about Rachel and how she died before reaching her promise. Okay. And in that, in Genesis 30 itself, Rachel grieved, chapter 30, Rachel grieved so much over the fact that she could not conceive a child. She always looked at her sister, Leah, who was very fruitful. She had kids. And that was something that Rachel really wanted to do. She wanted to bear kids, and she was unable to conceive. And she was just so hurt. She was disappointed. She was hurt. She was, but God finally blessed Rachel with a son, and, her son was Joseph. That's what she named him. And after experiencing, of course, this miracle, because it was an absolute miracle, no one but God could have done this, she immediately began to speak prophetic words into her life, and that's what you need to do. Speak positive things into your life. Speak positive things into your life. Don't allow negative energy to be around you. Don't allow people that talk negative and talk down on the things that you want to pursue. Don't allow them around you. M- sometimes you have to cut people off when you're pursuing things. You do. You have to just keep them in the dark. And you will learn as you're going through different things, stages in life, especially when you're pursuing your goals. Not everything is meant to discuss with everybody, because not everybody's going to support you. And that's just straight up. They're not. They're either not going to understand, they're not going to support you, all of the above, and it's going to make you feel some type of way. So, in order to just stay focused on what it is that you're pursuing, you going through this process or going through the process, you're going to have to drown out a lot of things and a lot of people, unfortunately. But going back to the story of Rachel, she had her son, of course, Joseph. God did it for her. He blessed her womb, and she had Joseph, and she began to speak prophetic words into her own life. And she said, actually, and she spoke it into her life that she was going to have another son. You know, she did. She had enough faith that God could do it again. However, Rachel made a mistake. Okay. She didn't have enough faith to put God first. Okay. And she started, well, she was worshiping idols. She was looking at other things, worshiping other things. And at the moral of the story is she did not put her faith in God, period, all the way, completely. And one thing I have learned when you are pursuing your goals, when you are pursuing anything in life, you got to trust God because you will be tested. You will be tested by people, you will be tested by situations. You are going to be tested. And you have to like pull yourself together mentally, physically, however you want to look at it. You got to pull yourself together and you really got to talk to God. And a lot of times you feel like you are alone. I ain't gonna front. You are. A lot of times you're gonna feel like, God, are you really here? Like, are you really here? And he's right there. But in those times, that's where he wants you. Because at the end of the day, he wants you to trust him. He wants you to trust him enough to know that he can walk out every situation in your life. But you got to have faith to do that. To please God, you got to have faith. To please God, you got to follow his word. You got to obey his word. To please him, you got to fall so in love with him that without a shadow of a doubt, nothing or no one can shake your faith, can shake you from the love that you have of him and his word. And when you hold on to his word and when you hold on to him, you will see how your life will be blessed. You will see how doors will begin to open. You will see how you will have favor in a lot of situations because you really trusted God. And that's where he wants all of us to be. He's like, just let me do my job. Just trust me. Because when you don't trust me, you insult me. That's how God feels. And I'm not trying to insult the man, okay? I ain't trying to insult him. Look, I trust him. I trust you, Lord. I trust you in everything. I trust you with my life, everything. But that's where he wants us to be, okay? But going back to Rachel, after she went through all of this, and she spoke the prophetic word that she was going to have another son. The problem was at that time she had faith that God could do it again. However, she made a mistake and she didn't have enough faith to put God completely first. And that's where we can mess up. You got to put him first. All right. So, moving forward, as you begin to read throughout the chapters, you will later learn that she did conceive that second child. But unfortunately, Rachel died, okay, during childbirth as she was conceiving. And it was just so unfortunate that, while she was in labor, and it was a hard labor, it was hard, but, she passed away. And on the labor of it, the labor was intense. The pain was so intense. But because of the intense labor pain, it brought on, it was brought on by her disobedience. And so, she died during childbirth, and she was so close to her destination, but she died. The baby was successfully delivered. Um, the miracles still, came, but Rachel couldn't enjoy the fruit of her labor. So giving up is not an option. All right. It's not. No matter how difficult the journey is, no matter how painful it may be, put God, continue to keep God first and keep the faith. You're going to be tested. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, you're not going to be tested. You're going to be tested by a lot of things, a lot of situations, and even people. But you got to keep your eyes on the prize, which is God. And you got to stay in his face. You got to stay in his word to help you maneuver through the goals that you're trying to pursue. And he will give you clarity, he will give you strength, he will give you better understanding on what it is that, you're wanting to pursue. But more importantly, he will give you strength to do whatever it is that you're trying to do goal wise, because we all need strength. Okay. Goals or no goals, we all need strength. Okay. In every situation of our lives, we do. And you have not because you ask not. And if you take the time and start to communicate more and more with God and just have intercession with Him and, talk to Him, because that's what He wants from all of us. He wants us to depend on Him. He wants to guide us. He wants us to allow Him to guide us. We can't just shut Him out. So, whatever these goals are, you can't just shut God out. It doesn't work that way. You got to incorporate Him in order for those goals to pan out successfully. Will things shift at times? Absolutely. Things happen. Sometimes God will bring a shift and He'll shift you in a different direction, but you'll be able to handle the shift. You'll be equipped for the shift. But giving up is not an option. So you have to ask yourself on final note, what goals did you give up on that just seem to be so far fetched? Go back to that list, go back to those goals and review them. Okay. And move forward in them. What visions or even dreams do you have that you need to pick up and dust off? Think about it. Take a few minutes, at least 3 times out of this week, and pray for direction, okay? To get your goals back on track because prayer helps. Don't let anyone tell you differently. Prayer will help you, okay? But you gotta wanna pray. Is it a sacrifice sometimes because the pressure of the world and different situations of the world is pressing on you? Absolutely. We're all human. But you gotta make that private time. I don't care if it's in the car. I don't care if it's in the bathroom as you're in the tub. You gotta find that quiet time where you can pull away and really spend time with God. You have to. You need to. And you will see things open up brighter in your life. You will see things with so much clarity. It's not even fun. It'll scare you. It'll be so crystal clear about people, about situations, even about your goals. So I'm praying for you that God gives you strength to pick back up where you left off in regards to your goals, that God gives you even more strength to get more in tune with Him through your own personal prayer time. Okay, that God gives you clarity, that God gives you understanding on whatever it is that you are incorporating into your life, that you have questions on, that you want to pursue within your journey, which we call life. But whatever you do, don't forget about Him. Whatever you do, don't just toss God to the side. Make time for Him, because when you make provision for Him, He will always make provision for you. So, as I end, make sure you check us out, Crown of a Master. I'm on Twitter. But more importantly, you have me here on YouTube, Crown of a Masterpiece Ministries. You have reached the elevation station. I wish you a great rest of your week, going into a great weekend. And just know giving up is not an option. Bye bye.